with a breaking news alert.
All right, we do begin today with some breaking news this noon hour out of Bell County, where a jury has reached a verdict just about an hour ago in the trial of Caysen Allison. We know a lot of you have been following this very closely. Allison was accused of fatally stabbing Joe Ramirez at Belton High School back in 2022. After several hours of deliberation, the jury found Allison not guilty of murder in the death of Ramirez, but guilty of criminally negligent homicide. News 10's Isabella Quintanilla is joining us now live from outside the Bell County Justice Center, where she has been following this trial since last week. Isabella, what can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Julie. It has been a long couple of days with the jurors deliberating for nearly 11 hours in total, and many people anxiously awaited the verdict. And as you can imagine, emotions were extremely high as they waited. Even before the jury came in, the entire courtroom was tense, with people on both sides of the court looking both nervous and already getting emotional. As the deputy read the verdict to the defense, there were gasps of shock and relief from both sides. And when walking out, the anger and frustration among Joe Ramirez's family and friends was clear, with one person throwing a water bottle against a wall and another screaming as they walked out of the building. We did hear from Allison's defense attorney, Zachary Boyd, who says this was a hard case, but that they're relieved by the outcome.
This case has been accompanied with threats against Caysen Allison, against Caysen Allison's family, against the defense team. You felt that tension in the courtroom. We have continually requested people to keep an eye out, people to investigate, and I'm just thankful that the Bell County Sheriff's Office has taken it so seriously and taken everyone's safety seriously. Caysen's family, the juries.
Allison has been released under his bond conditions, which will stay in place until his sentencing hearing on June 16th. Now, depending on what Judge Falconer decides, Allison could face 6 months to 2 years in a state jail. Reporting live in Belton, Isabella Quintanilla, KWTX News 10.
All right, peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And this verdict just in the case of Caysen Allison, who was 18 at the time. He was a student at a school in Bell County, and he was charged with the fatal stabbing of this young man, Joe Ramirez, who was also a student at the school. And as you just heard, the jury has returned a not guilty verdict in the case of Caysen Allison, and he has been released on bond until his sentencing, which is only a sentence of about 6 to 2 years. He could face that. Now, if you're not familiar with this story came to light a couple of weeks after the Karmelo Anthony case because of the similarities. Now, Caysen Allison was a student and Joe Ramirez was a student, and I think it was Belton High School. And the two had previously had a beef. Jose's brother said that Caysen approached his girlfriend at the prom, and then Joe, his brother, stepped in. The two had words. It was a verbal or physical altercation then. A couple of weeks later at the school, they had been going back and forth. They said Caysen actually invited Joe to a Snapchat group for them to fight. And it was recorded that morning of the fatal incident. The two had fought in the parking lot, either verbally or physically. And then later that day, they said that there was a bathroom that most of the students congregated in before class. And they said that Joe and about 5 other students walked into the bathroom with Caysen walking in after him. And then they said the two got into a fight. Joe swung on Caysen, and Caysen produced a knife and began to jig, as they say, Jose Ramirez. And then I think he hit him with the knife 4 times. Jose ran out the bathroom, and then Caysen ran out after him, almost chasing him. Joe later collapsed in the school hallway, and he was rushed to the hospital, but he was pronounced deceased. Now, Caysen fled, ran home, ran from the school. They had to lock the entire school down. When the police finally got up to him, Caysen, of course, pleaded self-defense, and he said that he only jigged him one time. But the forensic report stated that he had a large wound in his chest. He had wounds in his back, wounds in his buttock, and a couple of other wounds from behind. So that actually disputed that testimony from Caysen Allison, which also proved him to be a liar. And everybody was interested in this case because of the similarities or the close proximity of the events, Anthony and the Metcalf kid. Now, here we see that he has been found not guilty and found guilty of a lesser charge of criminal negligent homicide, which is actually like the lowest of the lowest charge that you can be charged with. And you heard the lawyer kind of making him the victim. Yeah, well, Caysen has been, the source of threats and its family and its jury. And, thanks to sheriff for keeping him safe and all of those things. Now it is seeming like this man was the victim when a lot of people said who witnessed the fight that he was the aggressor. It was supposed to be a fight, and he pulled out a knife. He said he was jumped. Several people who were there said he was not jumped. So I can't help but to think, because this is a picture of Caysen Allison, and this is a picture of Joe Ramirez. Joe Ramirez is of Hispanic descent, and Caysen Allison is of the lily white American blonde hair, blue-eyed constituency, for lack of a better word. So why is this important? Because this judge in Texas, now this is only 2 hours away from where Karmelo Anthony's incident took place. This judge in Texas, this jury has found him not guilty of the major charge of, homicide. Now, in the case of Karmelo Anthony, pleaded self-defense. He was reportedly jumped by two brothers. He pulled out a knife, defended himself. He jigged one time, ran, admitted to it, claimed self-defense, asked was he okay. A lot of factors. He was not a troubled kid. He came from a two-parent household, great grade point average, working, all of those things. But the public and the media has given his family death threats. They have threatened the family, the judge, the jury, the lawyers. Many people have been very critical of his stance of self-defense. So now that this Caysen Allison case has been resolved with him being allowed to essentially walk free, even 6 months to 2 years, that is a very light sentence. I doubt that they're going to give him that. I'm pretty sure they're going to give him probation. But then what about the Ramirez family? As the news reporter stated, they were very, very mad. Some threw bottles, some yelled and screamed, as well they should be, because this was a cold case, classic case of outright taking a life, unalivement of this young man who was supposed to be just fighting. So I'm going to keep an eye on this case as it relates to the sentence. And also, of course, I know we are all waiting for the information or the trial to start with Karmelo Anthony and the Metcalf twin. So I just had to lay this out because this case, once again, was very comparative to Karmelo Anthony's case, in the fact that this guy's pleading self-defense when really, it shows he's the aggressor. Karmelo Anthony is pleading self-defense when it is said that he was being attacked. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this case and the video in the comments. And as always, you see my number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching the video. Please like, share, and most of all, subscribe to the channel. Peace and blessings.